Well, we're here to shock the world with an announcement that nobody saw coming. It's a thrilling moment, humbling and exciting moment for Trackhouse Entertainment Group to officially announce and welcome Connor Zilisch, who will be our third driver next year in a multi-year deal in the NASCAR Cup Series. He'll join Ross Chastain and Shane Van Gisbergen as his teammates. I don't have to say, how special he is and how humbled and excited that we are to have Connor join us at the Cup Series level. One of the things, a number of years ago when we started kind of thinking about the 3-year, 5-year, and the long-term vision of this company, it became apparent as we got established in this series that, we needed to start making investments in our future and start cultivating our future. And, Connor really stood out. I watched him race at Trackhouse Motorplex, watched him as he, went to late models and Trans Am, and then got an opportunity to be his teammate in the Trans Am race at VIR just to sort of see how he operates. And he won that race by about 45 seconds over the field, and it was really kind of that moment that we felt like making an investment in Connor, giving him the tools and the opportunity to develop was something that we really needed to do at Trackhouse. So we're really excited that Red Bull and WeatherTech are both going to anchor the program on his car next year. And we're working very, very hard to give all three of our guys an opportunity to win, make our race cars fast, make our company competitive and a leader in the garage. Because I think if we do that, we've got a bunch of guys that can win a lot of races, including Connor in his rookie year. So, Connor Zilisch to the NASCAR Cup Series with Trackhouse. Welcome, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. I'm honored to be joined by you two on the stage. You two believed in me before a lot of people did, and gave me this opportunity to be sitting here today and have the opportunity to make that jump to the Cup Series. So first of all, thank you to Eric and Justin. I was sitting in the Dick's parking lot across the street earlier today and just kind of reflecting on the last 15 years of my life and what's led to this moment and got me this point. And I never thought I would make it anywhere in racing. And sorry. And my parents have been behind me since day one. Through every moment, the good, the bad. There were many times I questioned why I left school, left my friends to make this commitment to go to the Cup Series and try and chase a dream of racing in motorsports, and I never knew what was ahead of me. And there were times 5 years ago where I thought I was just going to go to college and live the life of a normal kid. And Kevin Harvick asked my dad, what's your plan with this kid? And my dad was like, well, he's going to race for another year or two, and then he's going to go to college. And Kevin told my dad, he's like, you can't do that. So first of all, thank you to Kevin. There's a lot of people that have been a part of this journey with me. I have way too many people to thank. Junior Motorsports, first of all, for giving me this opportunity this year to race with them. Dale, Kelly, you guys have given me a great home for the last six to 12 months, and I'm very grateful for that. Pinnacle Racing Group, my ARCA team, they took a chance on me to, put me into the national series in NASCAR and let me race in the ARCA series with them. Silver Hair Racing before that in Trans Am, gave me my first ride in a stock car. There's just been so many people along the way, and back to even my karting days when I was with Gary Willis and we spent months in Europe together. He's basically my father for, a good portion of my life. So yeah, today is a really, really special day for me. I never thought this day would come, and yeah, it certainly feels good.
It's certainly a young and already illustrious part of your career with so much more to go. One of the most influential people in Connor's racing career, Dr. Warren.
I look at Connor now, and when I keep hearing he's 19, I look at him like he was 14 the first day we talked to him, and I specifically remember his father, Jim, and him sitting in with us, and it was just really inspiring to see his commitment even at that point. And, you know, Josh Wise, I got to give him a ton of credit. Josh and his group really, with us, have developed a lot of great young people. And Connor, from the very beginning, Josh was like, this kid's going to do something nobody else has ever done. And so far, that's been true. And Kevin called me, actually, and said, he's the best breaker I've ever seen in my life. And I think I said this maybe at Rolex when we were up here. So there's been a lot of things that, you know, really inspired not just us, but, you know, Connor is the one that's done the work. I mean, if you look at what he's done and the effort he puts in, and I see him every day in our technical center and working out, and couldn't be more proud to be a part of it, honestly. And just a great, wholesome, you know, great head on his shoulders, but it's honestly the work and the things that people don't see. It's not just the talent. He puts in the effort and really, really works at it, and, you know, that's really where his success comes from. So super happy for this day. Kind of knew it was coming, and it's great. Look forward to what we see in the future.
Yeah, I do have to give a big shout out to Josh Wise. You know, I joined the Chevy program 2021 or 22, and, you know, I've in the last 3 years, I've completely changed as a human in life, and you know, on the racetrack and off the racetrack. And Josh has taught me so much, and I definitely owe a lot to him. So, yeah, very grateful that you know, he took the chance to, you know, start that program with Chevrolet and you know, bring in those 5 young drivers, and you know, very fortunate that I was one of those 5, and that kind of kick-started, you know, and led to where I am today.
We are going to open this up for questions. We do have microphones. Please put your hand up. We'll get microphones to you. We'll start right here on the side. And please state your name and your affiliation, please.
Hey guys, I'm Chris Collins, NewsDaytonaBeach.com. First of all, Connor, congratulations. Justin, I was wondering if you could kind of share a little bit. You know, it's rare for someone to start their full-time Cup career as young as 19 years old. So I was wondering if you could explain kind of what is it that sets Connor apart that the untrained eye might not see, that makes him different from other, you know, big racing prospects who take more time to develop before they're ready for that jump to Cup? Why is Connor different where you feel more than comfortable putting him in the seat next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what everybody sees. I mean, it's the level of maturity, the approach, the ability to deliver in big moments. You know, when I get asked, which is sort of weird, but I get asked sometimes by young people, like, what can I do to get noticed or to get an opportunity in racing? And I tell them it's just, you have to just win. You have to just have the ability to just get it done. When you got a fast race car and you have a winning opportunity, you got to be able to close the deal. And you know, Connor's done it. I mean, he's just, every car he's gotten in, he's figured out a way to win. You know, I think another one is the rate of adaptability. I mean, this sport won't wait on somebody to figure things out. I mean, it's such a fast-paced sport. You have to be able to get in a car, understand it right away, find its limits right away, and go deliver right away. And I think you saw that at Watkins Glen last year, first time in an Xfinity car, and won the race. You know, earlier that year in the truck at Coda, first time in the truck, and put the thing on pole by a lot. Just to be able to get in and figure it out quickly. That's what it's all about, because the Cup Series is, you know, it's a different sport than the Xfinity Series. I mean, it's every week is such a challenge, and he's going to be going to, you know, a lot of racetracks that, you know, he's never seen in a Cup car before, and with such limited practice, he's going to have to be able to figure out how to go fast really quickly, and he's demonstrated the ability to do that so much in his career. And I think, you know, the other part of it, like I said, what I touched on is just maturity, emotional maturity, approach, organization and approach, paying attention to the things that are important and accretive to, you know, to success in his career. All of those things together, he's demonstrated in a way that I've not ever seen a teenager be able to do it before. So when you recognize that you've got that in a package, you have to run with it. And we've seen it. I mean, Max Verstappen, and there's been other drivers that have gotten sort of thrown into the top level at a young age, and all those guys kind of demonstrate the same thing. So we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't think that he was successful, if we didn't think that he'd be able to win as a rookie. So we're thrilled to be able to have him.
Bob Pockris, and then we have a combination right here in the middle. We'll start with Bob and all
Bob
you guys.
Pockris, Fox Sports. Connor, you've known this day's coming for a while, so I'm curious, did you come in here trying not to cry, or did this all of a sudden come up on you?
I mean, I had a feeling I would. Just, it's cool. I knew the whole world knew already, but still to be able to say it and have my name next to the word Cup Series is really cool. So, I wasn't going to try and hide from it, but it's just a day that I've been dreaming of for a long time, and I'm not going to let that kind of the idea that everybody already knows take away from the moment.
And they didn't announce a number for you. Are you lobbying for a number? Is there a number that you want?
You could go.
We've got some announcements that we're going to make over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, there's questions around the program, people, numbers, kind of all of that, and we're gonna have those moments when we can really celebrate them. But right now, it's about Red Bull, WeatherTech, and Connor.
Yeah, and also to add to that, Red Bull and WeatherTech. WeatherTech, this year has been a staple on my car and been such a big part of, getting me to this point and making, Justin signing me and putting me in the best equipment possible. So, to David McNeil, Cooper McNeil, and the entire WeatherTech family, it certainly means a lot to have their support. And then, I've been a Red Bull athlete for almost a year now, and probably the coolest sponsor. You watch videos of guys jumping from stratosphere, and you watch those YouTube videos as kids, and you one day dream of being as cool as them and being a part of that legendary club of being a Red Bull athlete, and I'm really excited to have two of probably some of the coolest sponsors in our sport on my car next year.
Steven Stump, Fronttrip.com. Connor, obviously it's been a very emotional ride for you, getting in your racing journey, getting to this point. You talked about you not being sure if you'd be able to make it. Is there a point in your career when you realized you had made it, or maybe did this moment come just right now sitting on this stage?
I still haven't made it to where I want to be, right? This is the start. I wanted to get to this point and give myself the opportunity to win championships at the highest level, but I wouldn't say I've made it, but I've made it farther than a lot. So, that's something to be proud of. And it's going to be grueling. The Cup Series is no joke, and that jump from Saturday to Sunday is bigger than probably any other sport, in our country. So, I'm excited for the challenge and looking forward to just going out and learning and every Sunday, giving my best effort and seeing where I stack up. I know it's not going to be easy, but I'm just excited to be a part of the Cup Series and have I made it? No, but made it way farther than I thought I would.
Jeff?
Connor, you're very obviously mature beyond your years and very grounded, and were raised the right way. The Cup Series, all the pressure and all the commitments and all that stuff, it's a demand on people. We've seen so many young drivers come in through the years, and it's hard to maintain the person you were when you started. How important is it to you to try to keep the person you are now, and do you think that'll be a challenge going forward as your profile rises and rises?
Yeah, you get to Sunday and all of a sudden this becomes a job, and your finishing position determines if you're going to stay in the sport or not. And obviously that adds pressure and makes things more difficult. And it certainly adds to the fact that, this is no longer all about having fun, but that's what I'm going to try and do my best to keep every Sunday, is to make sure that I'm enjoying it and enjoying the ride. And, this stuff, you can't travel 38 weeks a year around the country and be miserable and expect to do well. So, yeah, you have to enjoy it. The good days are going to be special, and the bad days are going to be a part of it, and that's kind of just what you got to understand from the get-go. And yeah, I'll do my best, but yeah, there's nothing that can really prepare you for this jump, and only time will tell how it affects me. But I'm going to do my best to stand my ground and stay true to who I am.
We will have time for some one-on-ones as soon as we wrap this up, but we do have time for just a couple more questions. We'll go with Jordan. We'll come down to Roy as well.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. This question is for Justin. With Connor now and then SVG, do you expect to win every road course race next year?
Yes.
Well, you can never expect to win. I mean, this series is very, very difficult. I would say that we. On the road courses where we are where we want to be as a company, which is when we pull into the racetrack, everybody unloads feeling like they need to beat Trackhouse. I think the goal for us is to continue invest in this sort of transition I've been talking about as a company. So that's the case all 38 weeks of the year. I mean, I think, the goal for this business is to be a championship winning organization. And we're making a lot of moves internally right now to get ourselves there because, we're competitors, we're racers, and we want to win every single week. I will say that the road courses are, they're near and dear to my heart because it's what I came out of, racing a bunch of years in IMSA and in road racing. We've obviously got somebody that has demonstrated an incredible amount of skill at the road courses in SVG, but now we got 2 bullets in that gun. So I think it bodes well for us on the road courses, but we want to be able to do it every single week.
Right.
Yeah, Justin, Roy Akers, Skyview Sports. You're pretty strategic, in the moves that you make. And I think you knew 2 months ago that you were going to bring Connor in, but you've been waiting now on the announcement. Was there any loose ends, or was this just seemed like the right time for you to make this announcement?
Well, I mean, obviously it takes time to get a deal done, right? I mean, so we spent time in kind of getting to a place that we're both happy with, and as far as now, I don't know if there was any real kind of rhyme or reason to it. It makes sense to do it at Daytona just because it's such an important part of the sport. Last year we sat right here in this room on this day and announced that Shane Van Gisbergen was going to be joining the team. So, I came through the tunnel here when I was 19 years old for the 24 Hours of Daytona, and Daytona's been a huge part of my life ever since then. It's been a huge part of I think everybody's life that's sitting in this room right now. So, it's great to do it at the World Center of Racing and great to do it, right in NASCAR's backyard.
Mm-hmm. Jacob Seelman.
Jacob Seelman, Raceface Digital. Justin, you talked about investing in Trackhouse's future. Connor sitting here with this announcement is evidence of that. I mean, do you view him as basically being a cornerstone of this team going forward, hopefully for a long time to come with everything you've seen in him?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I hope so. I think, he demonstrates, he represents a huge opportunity because of his maturity, because of his talent, and because of the fact that he's got, I think, potential to be a champion in the sport, a multi-time champion in the sport. We have to do our job as a company. I mean, we have to put fast cars on the racetrack. We have to give him and his teammates an opportunity to go fast in the sport. So I think as long as, he stays focused and brings it every single week, and we do our job in, building fast race cars and putting the right people around him, I think if we experience success together, I think we both would like for that to last a really, really long time. So, but it's, this is a very, very difficult sport, and right now Trackhouse is going through, like I said, this sort of transitional period where, we're looking at the company and envisioning kind of what the future looks like, because it's hard to beat Penske and Gibbs and Hendrick, but we want to be the team to do it. So if we do our job and he does his job, I don't see why we can't have a lot of success together for a long time.
Scotty?
Scotty Sprinkle Raceface Digital to Connor. You mentioned, having to kind of step away out of a normal life to chase, this dream of racing. You said you never thought you'd be standing here to talk about making it to the Cup Series. For somebody who's still super young and still has such an early career, what's some of the hardships and, challenges that you faced, from out, whether you first started through about the last few years, what's been the struggles that you've had to face and overcome and that have helped mold you to get to this point?
Yeah, I think, it started probably 2020, 2021 when I was getting out of go-karts and trying to make the jump into racing, full-size cars. And, my dad basically told me, look, I can get you to this point, but from here you're on your own. And, yeah, it was tough to accept that. There's kids that I watched around me that, they had parents that could get them to the next level. And I kind of had to go out and win races and find my way on my own. And, I always had their guidance and help. And, but at some point you got to pay for this stuff somehow. And, yeah, I'm just very fortunate that I had people around me who, helped me. And that's why I say yes to every opportunity I get almost, from the time I was 15 to 17, I never turned down an opportunity to get behind the wheel, whether it was racing on dirt, racing a Miata, racing Trans Am, late models. I always wanted to just be behind the wheel and, get myself in front of more people, because you never know who you're going to meet. And that's exactly how kind of things went with Justin and I. Someone came to me and asked me if I wanted to race a Trans Am car at VIR, and I said yes. And next thing I know, I was teammates with Justin, and that's where things kind of started for us. So yeah, it's kind of been just who I am since I got out of a go-kart, and I'm very glad that I had to work for it and I had to win races to get to the next level, because it makes sitting here today that much sweeter.
I think there's a good lesson in that, because one of the things that we talk about is taking advantage of the opportunity, delivering in the big moments. And when you're in a position where you have to just let your talent speak for it, he delivered in that. And we looked at it and said, we're gonna make a commitment here. We're gonna make a financial commitment. We're gonna make a asset commitment. Eric Warren and Chevrolet did the same thing. They made a commitment because they just saw that there was something special here, because he just delivered so much. And so it's great to be in this moment, because the investment that we made, the investment that Chevrolet has made, we've seen that pay dividends with all the wins this year in Xfinity, and we see the opportunity to do the same thing on Sundays.
Steven Stump of FrontStretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.